Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and in this video we are going to make some compound butter. A couple of videos ago, we had some fun with heavy whipping cream. We made whipped cream, we made butter, and we made real buttermilk, and I'll link to that video right up here. So if you do it the way that I did it in that video, you're going to find yourself with about 1.5 pounds of butter. And one of the things that I've been telling myself I should do, and finally got around to it in this video, is to make compound butter. All three of these compound butters come from a recipe in Food and Wine magazine from March of 2018. So rather than talk any more about them, let's get to making them, and I'll describe each one of them as we go along. The first compound butter that we're going to make is the cacio e pepe compound butter. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Never took Italian. For this, we'll start with 4 ounces, or about 120 grams of unsalted butter, 1.5 tablespoons of fresh ground black pepper. That's right around 13 grams. And a cup of freshly grated Pecorino Romano cheese. That's about 50 grams. And we'll process this until smooth. If you get any stubborn chunks of butter, take a spatula to kind of break them up and push them back down. That looks good. We'll transfer this onto some plastic wrap or parchment paper. And then we'll roll this into a log. Pinch the ends, give it a little spin. Maybe a roll or two, pat down the ends to get a nice cylindrical shape. And then this is going to go into the freezer to firm up. For our second compound butter, we are going to do a toasted spice butter. For our toasted spices, we'll have 1 tablespoon or 6 grams of coriander seed, 1 tablespoon or about 5 grams of fennel seed, a tablespoon of caraway, that's about 8 grams, and a tablespoon of black peppercorns, which is about 10 grams. We're going to turn our heat to medium and toast these while shaking for about 2 to 3 minutes or until fragrant. Once you start hearing your herbs crackle and you see a little wisp of smoke, it's pretty much done. You can take them off the heat. Then we'll transfer our toasted spices to a spice grinder, and then we'll grind these up. Four or 5 pulses should be plenty. To our food processor, we will add 4 ounces of chopped up unsalted butter. That's right around 120 grams. 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, which is right around 3 or 4 grams. And then our ground toasted spices. We'll process this until smooth. And if any big chunks of butter get stuck, just bust those up with a spatula. And that's looking like it's ready to be made into a butter log. We'll transfer our butter to either a piece of parchment paper or plastic wrap, and then we will roll it into a log. Once you get it fairly log shaped, give it a couple of twists to tighten it up. And then this is going to go into the freezer until firm. And now for our final compound butter. This is probably the most complex or time-consuming of them. It's the ancho lime compound butter. We'll start with 2 ancho chilies that I have stemmed and seeded, and we're going to put them into a small skillet over medium heat. We're going to toast these, turning frequently until they start to blister. That'll take about 4 minutes. It's only been 1 minute and I can already start to smell them. At 2 minutes in, they're starting to soften, and I'm seeing the occasional wisp of smoke. At this point, you may want to take your tongs and kind of flatten them out every time you flip them, just so that you get a little bit more surface area toasted. You can see where this one's already starting to blister. Now we'll transfer these to a bowl. Cover with boiling water. And you may want to use a small plate to make sure that the peppers stay submerged. Then we'll let this soak for 15 minutes while we prep our other ingredients. After our chilies are done soaking, we pat them dry, and now I'm going to transfer them to a food processor to chop them up. I'll scrape down the sides. Then I'm going to add 4 ounces of butter. That's about 120 grams for those of you doing metric. Then we'll add 2 tablespoons of freshly minced chives. The zest of 1 lime, which is about 2 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons, or about 7 grams of kosher salt. 1 clove of garlic, which you can grate, or I'm going to run through a garlic press. 1/2 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, and 1/2 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. Now we'll process this until combined and smooth. And that's what we're looking for. We're going to transfer our mixture to a piece of plastic wrap. You can also use parchment paper. And then we're going to roll this into a log. Once you've got it into a decent log shape, give it a twist. And you may want to roll it out a little bit just to make sure that it's a nice even cylinder. And then we're going to pop this into the freezer until firm. For this taste test, I'm going to be using some Keto pita chips. It's a recipe I'm working on, coming soon. We'll start with the cacio e pepe. According to Food and Wine magazine, the cacio e pepe butter goes best on pasta, popcorn, or steamed vegetables. For those of us who are doing keto, probably mostly steamed vegetables, or if you've got a keto pasta recipe that you like, give it a shot. That was really good. I mean, I'm almost a little bit nervous to try the other ones there because I think that sets a pretty high bar. If I were not keto, I could absolutely imagine that on top of some fettuccine. But as it is, I think it would go great on cauliflower or pretty much the vegetable of your choice. In fact, I think it would probably be great even melted and drizzled over some scrambled eggs. Next, we have the toasted spice butter. Food and Wine magazine says this can be grated over rice, or it can be served on pumpernickel bread, or used to top sliced duck breast. Wow, that brings a ton of spice. I think the one though that really stands out to me is the caraway, and that's why I think this would go good either spread on a rye bread chaffle or somehow mixed in with a rye bread chaffle. Gonna have to play around with that. And finally, the ancho lime butter. Now you probably don't want to have any of these right out of the freezer because they're still kind of stiff. You'll want to store them in the fridge, but still probably take them out 5 minutes before you're serving. Food and Wine Magazine says this goes good grated over chicken noodle soup. I don't know, maybe over chicken bone broth for us keto folk, or melted over a tri-tip steak, which of course we can do. Ooh boy, that is good. As it kind of clears your palate, you go through these taste layers. First I got the garlic, and then I got the chives. The chives were pretty pronounced. And now at the end, you get that ancho heat and that little hint of lime. I could absolutely see putting this on some steak. I could see putting it on flank steak or skirt steak that you're kind of cutting up to make some keto fajitas. Yeah, this third one absolutely is going to pair with probably anything made out of cow. You could probably even mix this with a little mayonnaise and put it on a burger. Boy, I think that one may actually be my favorite. So there you go, 3 compound butters. Hope you liked this video. If you did, click that like button. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. And if you'd like to help out Serious Keto, click that join button and see some of the options. No obligation. Thanks for watching.